All right, so let's go ahead and get started. You want to thank everybody for joining us. This is our first ever podcast, so I want to thank you for joining us. We've got, to my right here, we've got my man Aaron Green.
Whoa. We're going to have to cut this out, man. I got warrants, man. You know what I'm saying? I need a code name, man. I'm going to go with my
full
nickname.
name up in here.
My name is Cleasy. Y'all probably never heard this before, but everyone in college and high school called me that. We're going to go with that right now just because I can't have it flashed all over the screen, man.
All right, to my right, we got my man Cleasy.
All right.
To my immediate left, we got my man Jimmy 19. He's gotten COVID more than anybody else I know.
Right.
Might as well take COVID's last name. And then we got V-Dub over there. Is that what we're going with?
We can roll with that.
All right. My name's Untitled. Thanks again for joining us. Guys, today we were talking about a movie I'm really excited to talk about. I know everybody on the internet's been talking about it as well. And I'm really happy that this is the first movie we're going with. And, of course, that movie I'm referring to is Nope. Yeah, I almost said Get Out.
2022, man. Come on.
Drinking?
Yeah,
That's why I got
man.
the shades
that
on,
fire alarm this morning got me all messed up. I've been up since 5 a.m., so... we're talking about Nope, not Get Out. We'd be way late if we were talking about Get Out. So, Nope. All right, guys, tell me your initial thoughts.
Well, hold on. Like, Nope, I know you said that the time frame and everything is good to go with it right now. This is one of those movies, though, I wanted to say before we even got into what our initial thoughts is. This is going to be one of those movies that I think people are going to talk about for a long time, and I think that Jordan Peele is going to slowly, peel back the onion and let you know exactly what's going on. But my initial thought leaving the theater, this is just my initial thought was, what the hell is that ending? That's just me. You know what I'm saying? And I had to go back and think about the plot.
Yeah.
I was just like, wait, did it just end like that? There's no wrap up. That's just me, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I have my theories on why it ended like that, but we can get into that later. Jimmy, what did you think about the movie? Initial thoughts?
I totally looking forward to this movie. I could not have been more excited to go see it. I walked out incredibly happy to see it, to see how it unfolded. Mad as hell because of the ending, but ready to go see it again.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I think it's one of those, just like peeling back the layers, I think that there's about 614 things I didn't see in this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
And now, I will also say, though, to me, that's a bit of a problem because I think now that we're looking for things to look for, it's almost ruining my enjoyment of the film itself. And Jordan Peele's even said, sometimes I just want to make a movie. And I want to go back in and just watch it to watch it now. Yeah.
Keep that thought, because we'll get into that a little bit, because I think that's a good segue to go into a little bit later. Yeah. But Vince, let's get to you.
When I first left the theater, I'm kind of like Jimmy. You go in thinking, hey, what is this going to be about? Because Jordan Peele's going to put something on you. But when I left, I was just happy that I felt like it was better than Us. Because I thought I thought Get Out was great. I thought Us was trash. And going into this movie, I was like, it's going to be somewhere between trash and great. And because it wasn't trash to me, I was like, all right, I'll deal with it. It wasn't great, but it wasn't trash. So, it was okay. It was an okay movie.
Those two movies are on the same level for me. Us and Nope, but we can get into that later.
Yeah, Vince, I feel like you don't like anything these days. I did not have high expectations going to this movie because of Us.
That's exactly where I was.
I forced myself to go watch this for this podcast. If it wasn't for this podcast, I don't know if I would have watched this movie.
You don't support brothers, man?
Stop.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like to me, man. You know what I'm saying?
That paired with what you were saying off camera.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was M. Night Shyamalan, would you have went on? So I just got to ask, man.
How many Bollywood movies you watched?
I watched a lot. I've actually sent 2 Tollywood movies to you recently to watch.
Tollywood, man. That's not my fault. That's not my people. It's not North Indians. I just put
there we go.
Why you guys support the South Indians?
Touche. I didn't know that.
I'm just finding out Anshul doesn't support black movies.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
No, for real. Like, I don't know. I would have watched it eventually, but I probably would have waited till it came out on HBO Max. I just wasn't hyped for it. But when I left the theater, I was so glad I watched this movie. I loved it. I loved the movie. I thought it was great. Personally, I liked it better than Get Out. The first time I saw Get Out. Get Out, I liked a lot better the second and third time I viewed it. And I'll be interested to see what my thoughts are on this movie when I watch it a second and third time. But my initial reaction was I absolutely loved everything about this movie. I loved the layers. I love that it's a movie you can talk about because that's part of the experience of watching movies now. Movies want to sell tickets in theaters. They have to really buy into the fact that they encourage people to go online and discuss the movie. And they got to make movies like that because that's what else is the draw of going to watch a movie unless you feel like you're missing out on an experience by talking about it.
That's Jordan Peele's wheelhouse. That's exactly what he does. I mean, he makes movies to be talked about.
No doubt.
For sure.
No doubt.
That's his goal.
For sure. And there's going to be tons of theories. We'll get into some of them. We'll get into some of the more popular ones. We'll get into what we thought our theories were. And at the end of the day, there, like some of you alluded to, there might not even be any theories. But that's part of the reason we're talking about this movie, that we were anxious to make this video, and a lot of other people are going to follow suit. And like I said, man, with the way the movies industry is now with streaming, if you want to encourage people to go to the theater and see the movie when it comes out, the best way to do that, in my opinion, is to make a movie that people are going to want to talk about, and that's exactly what he did, and I loved it.
That's what he does.
Spectacle, man. Like you got to have the spectacle.
Sure, yeah, and that's what Marvel does real well, right? Marvel, we go watch Marvel movies because of the spectacle and special effects. We're going to go watch Avatar for the same reason, right? Like Avatar won't be as good if you watch it at home.
No.
So we're all going to go to the theater and watch it, but not every movie can do that, you know? I think you can go into that. You taught me about this. I didn't know. That there's only, one company that does the majority of the special effects for Hollywood?
Well, no. Now it's changed, and we'll get back to Nope in a second, but it's changed. Post-production, remember when I was trying to do the filmmaking thing? I tried that. I failed at that. But still working on it. Still working on that. But the reason being is post-production is where most of the money's being made now. Yeah. That's the bulk of the industry right now. If you can get a good post-production company, you can do better than writing, directing, and all that other stuff. But let's get back to Nope, because that's going to get us on a whole other tangent and things of that nature.
Sure, yeah, we can talk about that later. But yeah, for sure. So yeah, like I said, man, I love the movie, and there's a lot to dig into. I mean, from the jump, the way he throws you into that movie.
Yeah,
you know,
Jimmy.
Man, so spoiler alert. I know we have to do that. Yeah. Obviously, if you're watching this, you've seen the movie. Know. Yeah. So the movie starts off just like he does with a lot of things. It's a scene that doesn't seem like it's going to make sense at any point. But then, of course, we circle back and we bring it in and really tie a bow on it to some degree as far as that initial scene pertains to the whole movie. Mm-hmm. Now, starts off with this chimp. You're sitting there, and, initially you just hear what's going on. You hear laughter. You hear good times. And then you realize, okay, I'm on the set of a show some sort. And then you hear chaos. Yeah. And you're sitting there saying to yourself, what in the world is going on? And I found myself saying that 15 times in this movie. Right. So, it sets up a good tone presentation. So, I don't know. Initial thoughts on the very first scene of the movie is, what the hell did I just walk into?
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like every morning when I wake up, Yeah.
I think the first scene of the movie did exactly what you mentioned earlier. It set it played with our minds to where we want to start. We don't know what's going on, so it's going to say, "Hey, what are we looking for? Is there something we should be paying attention to? Are there clues or context clues within the scene?" And then it immediately jumps to the next scene, which we'll get into in a second, where something else big happens. So when you have those two happening immediately in the movie, it's going to suck a lot of people in. But what it did to me is exactly what you said. It made me look around and oh, let me try to figure this out. Let me put the puzzle together right now, just because it's set up like that.
And I think during the whole movie, you're trying to correlate the monkey scene to the movie. And about halfway through the movie, I'm sitting up there going, what the hell was that monkey scene about then?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They offered an explanation for it later on.
But a little bit, but it wasn't a strong tie-in. I mean, it looked like a pretty powerful scene when you first watch it, and then you realize this had, as you walk out the movie, you're like, this had so little to do with the actual movie.
I would fight against that a little bit. I think it has to do with a theme. We'll get into that in just a second.
One thing about that scene that and we can get in a second, but I just want everyone to know, I think I can figure out the correlation except for one thing. What was with the shoe sitting straight up in the air?
Okay.
Was there some magnetic?
That never gets answered.
I've got some thoughts on that.
All right.
I'd like to hear.
Okay, yeah, because again, I've had tons of time to think about this. When you get COVID, you sleep a lot, but then you're awake at weird hours, and no one to talk to. So I just sit there with my thoughts.
Since your steady state is COVID these days.
Yeah, I find a non-COVID state to be euphoric, and I look forward to those. So if anybody can find a pill for that, that'd be great. Yeah. So do y'all want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah. We want to hear what you
think. When you go see this movie, if you don't notice it, you will the second time they show the scene. There is a shoe in the middle of the room that is standing up on its heel.
Yeah.
Got a little blood on the top of it, but improbably, let's say impossibly, it's standing on its heel. Mm-hmm. And you are looking at this, and I think it does what it's supposed to do. It becomes this focal point that takes your mind off of the chaos that is occurring, and it's what one of the main characters, Ricky Jupe Park, is. I think it's just what became his focus as well to keep him alive. In that scene, that there's one person that basically survives. It's this little kid that's a child star, and he's under a table, and he is literally just staring. And the way the camera's set up, it makes you stare at that shoe, even though there's a character who we learn later whose face is getting eaten off at that time. So it's one of those things that I think Jordan Peele, and again, it does not get explained. I simply think he makes it a focal point to get you through the scene to go, this is what the kid is doing. I need to take your focus off of the death and chaos that's going on, and I need you to just look at this and go, I got to have something to focus on, because if I don't, I'm going to end up drawing the attention of this chimp that is going crazy simply because of a balloon popping, right?
Yeah.
And so that, to me, is why that's there. There's no explanation for how a shoe, like a Ked's shoe or something, can stand. It's rounded on the back. This cannot happen. It just cannot happen. But I think it's drawing you to get you through the scene to experience what like this kid is going through, and it's just staring at this. Yeah. It gives me something to stare at for no particular reason. For us, it's the particular reason of how the hell is that shoe standing on its end?
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I feel is brought about by this shoe.
I can see that because he framed the shoe later on, as it shows later on in the movie. But you know, I'll roll with it, Jimmy. I'll accept it.
That's all I can figure. But that's all I could figure out with it. I mean, it really was, because when you're watching this, it does take your mind off of what's going on in the scene, because you're sitting there going, "How is this shoe?" There's chaos and death happening right in front of your face, and all you're looking at is a shoe.
Yeah, dude. You know, the one thing about the scene that really stood out to me, you know, Get Out is classified as a horror movie, but it's really more of a social commentary. From the jump, this opening scene established this movie to me as much more of a true horror movie than Get Out, because this movie is, at some points, kind of terrifying, you know? It's got a lot more horror aspects than Get Out did traditional horror aspects, and this scene to me was a great example of that, right? Because it is just chaos. It's an animal going wild. It's unexplained. You know, we all assume it's because of balloons popping, but we don't even really know why the animal flipped out. You're led to believe it's because of balloons, but at the end of the day, it could be for whatever reason. And
I took it as the balloon popping. I took that as that was the final straw. Yeah. Like, you got him dressed up, you've taken him out of his element.
Yeah.
I mean, you're trying to tame this wild animal, and that's and now you now the balloon popping was just bam. That was the straw that broke the camel's
back. That reminds me of the Chris Rock. They said that tiger went crazy when that tiger went crazy when it was riding a tricycle. Yeah.
And that's one of the themes I think we're going to get into that we're going to talk about. That seems to be a prevailing theme throughout this movie.
Sure. Yeah. And another thing about that scene that's very interesting in that movie is how when this movie has a lot to do, it's a circular movie, so it has a lot to do with, the past, present, and, people learning from their mistakes and people moving on from their mistakes and moving on. Like, there's an overarching theme about that in this whole movie with the dad, the daughter, the son, family, legacy. It's real big in that movie. And Steven Yeun, that's the dude who plays Jupe, which I'm glad that he got a different role, because he's always been, like, stereotyped as, the Asian dude. Yes. And, I'm glad he's breaking out, because, I thought he was the best character in The Walking Dead, personally. But with that being said, I think that this scene plays a huge part in what happens in the end with what's his name, Daniel Kaluuya, his character OJ. Figuring out, hey, this is how you kind of tame the beast. And I think that that's a big point that I think that's the reason.
Tame the beast.
You don't tame the beast. Yeah, you don't tame it. There's a big point why that was brought in. But okay. Yeah, and that's our thoughts on the opening scene.
What do you say? You come to terms with it, right? You don't tame it. Yeah.
But and then the last thing I wanted to say about that shoe, OJ even talks to his sister about, like, when Dad died, some things are a bad miracle. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The fact that the shoe's standing up is a miracle. Yeah. Is it an omen, kind of thing. So ultimately, it really is a polarizing opening scene. Yeah. Because I can tell how people would watch this and go, I don't want to see this. Yeah. Right. Because it is even though you don't see the gruesome, you see it and you feel it and you picture it. And one of the best things you can do as a movie maker is make people picture it in their own head.
Yep.
Because the second time around when they're revisiting that scene and the monkey gets up away from that body on the ground and the blood is on the face and he's wiping it on his shirt.
And then he throws that hat.
He throws that hat off like, nah, I'm done with this.
And then another thing about that scene, too, that they kind of tied in later on, that ties into that overarching theme that I was talking about, legacy and things, is that when he's on set, he's like, when they first meet the Steven Yeun character, they say, this is why they don't use chimps anymore. So it's another point where they show like a character learning or people learning from their mistakes or learning from the past. And that's just something that I noticed a lot in that movie.
Chimps ain't had this bad PR since War of the Worlds, man.
No, they did when that lady had the recording of her friend on her couch and then she called 911. Yeah, that's what I thought about the whole time. I'm like, damn, same thing.
And that was even a chimp that was in movies. Like that she thought, oh, I can take care of this. And there are two schools of thought there, I think, and this is the last part I want to touch on with this opening scene. There are people that think that we as people, because we're not on the food chain, we're just, there's no predator for us, right? We are the apex predator. Mm-hmm. They think that they can control everything on that tree below them. And what this shows is you can't do that. And then you can get into the social commentary of, Jordan Peele has, of course, historically shown how minorities are treated in whatever industry that he's focusing on at that time. I mean, let's be honest. Slavery was built around, we see this certain group of people as animals. Let's control them and get them to do what we want to do until they don't. And I don't know. I can tell you that this opening scene creates such good conversation, whether you loved it or hated it.
We're on the opening scene, and we've already been how many minutes in?
So. I mean, because the opening scene is going to be the scene that everyone's going to talk about. Like, well, they could have cut that out, and it could have trimmed and made a tighter movie. Or, well, let's extrapolate on that, or let's do that. So, let's go ahead.
I'm kind of like you, though, where, it's important to the movie as far as defining how we should be treating animals. But I was sitting there when I was watching it like, this looks like it's going to be some Tarantino.
Yeah.
Yeah, felt that way. It definitely felt that way. Yeah,
I felt like this year is going to be some Tarantino.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more visceral.
How much is he going to tie this in?
Yeah,
and I didn't feel like he tied it in. There was subtle ties, like you mentioned, but it wasn't strong ties. Like Tarantino usually gives you strong ties as far as why this here was there.
Yeah, but I
didn't get that.
I don't want to stay too much on this one scene because we got a lot more to talk about. But I think that's part of Jordan Peele is what he doesn't want you to. It's art to him. He wants you to draw your own opinions. He doesn't want to tell you exactly what to feel.
See, I don't agree with that, man. I think that Jordan Peele tells you exactly what he wants, like especially with Get Out. Get Out, like
for sure.
He's on the money and on the nose with his social commentary. Us, there's openings and there's things to which he can say, this means this or this means that. But when you hear him describe the movie, he has a specific point that he wants to drive home, and people are always going to take different thoughts. Like the paintings, like. There's a painting like this on the wall. Someone like that soundproof thing. Someone could look at that and say, hey, man, that's art. Or someone could say that's genius. You know what I'm saying? People just take things differently no matter what he means. But I think that this guy goes in with intentional. Everything he does is intentional. Anything that goes in that screen, there's no ambiguity to it. To me, he knows what he wants to do. We just take it that way. That's just my opinion.
So I'm curious to know, what is the social commentary that you took from the movie then?
From this movie?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things, but let's go through it and we can kind of peel back on that. Yeah. But I think the overarching thing that I took from the movie mainly is just it's certain things you can't control. Like there are certain things that we can't control. There's things that we can see. There's things that we can touch. There's things that we can interact with. But in the end, you really have no control over anything in life. That's what I took. I think it was a whole control thing.
That is a great point.
That is not what I took from it. That is not the overarching thing I will tell you.
That's what I'm saying.
Go ahead, Vince. What's your overarching thought?
The quote-unquote alien monster in the movie, when he really started to flex, he started to resemble a camera before he started to eat people, right?
Yeah.
Or he could have resembled a python.
And if you take where he's just eating the people in the amusement park, so I took it like I took it as a commentary on social media, like from the camera. I mean, we're all living for the camera. The camera will eat you alive. So I kind of took it as, hey, if you pay too much attention to this right here, you're going to lose yourself. And we're doing that over and over again in today's world. So I kind of took it as a social media commentary more so.
That's interesting. I took it. I took the whole movie, since we're skipping ahead and talking about themes. I took the whole movie as a social commentary on the movie industry. I thought that it was created during the pandemic, and I took the alien predator as the pandemic, and the people that are fighting against it are the filmmakers that are trying to create art in this against this vicious predator that's threatening everything that they know and that's trying to eat them alive. Right? That's the way I took the movie, and that's why I thought it resembled a camera at the end.
So we're similar. Mine is about fame. We're all chasing fame. So
we're all saying, in my opinion, we're all saying the same thing. When I say control, I just mean control of the situation. So if they're trying to fight against the pandemic, they're trying to control the situation. If you're trying to say about social media, you're trying to, control, control people's viewpoints on it. But like, I agree with you on one thing though, Vince, that I really, really, and I want to hear about your reparations theory too. I'm really interested in that because I didn't pick up on that, and I'm curious about that. But the camera aspect of it was the outline of a camera. You know what I'm saying? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I definitely agree that was exactly what he was trying to get across on that one. Yeah.
So spectacle obviously is
that's a huge one.
I mean, it comes in the quote from Nahum at the very beginning of the movie. Jordan Peele does this in each movie, right? Mm-hmm. He takes a Bible verse that's obscure, that most people have never looked at, thought about, typically from the Old Testament. So a lot of people push that aside because it just seems creepy. A lot of things, as Patton Oswalt says, the Old Testament is great torture porn. Yeah. But ultimately, God is speaking to the city of Nineveh and basically saying, because of all your sin, because of everything you do, and all I've given you, yet you're going to do nothing to praise me, celebrate me, give thanks for it. I'm going to rain down on you. He talks about pestilence. He talks about filth I'm going to put down on you. And I think there's a great scene of when the house gets demolished with blood. That great envisioning of that verse. But at the end of the verse, it talks about, I'm going to make you a spectacle. And we think of the word spectacular as always being good, right? But it reminds me of, you guys remember the Hindenburg and the radio announcement.
Yeah.
The guy's sitting there and he's like, oh, the humanity, what a
famous line.
What an amazing and horrific. And you're sitting there and you're going, man, a lot of times these are words, we use words to mean good because inherently we like good things, right? But in this manner, spectacular is the worst thing that's happened to them.
Yeah. And
I think that the creature, whether it's an alien or something that's been here for a long time, and a lot of times you ignore, it's the, what's better, the evil you know or the evil you don't know. But I think that thing's even we're looking at the creature as the spectacle and going, I love what you said about social media, because part of me is sitting there going, there's a good third of this movie where they're just sitting there going, I am willing to get the best Instagram photo.
Yeah, exactly.
At all costs.
The Oprah
you know what? I'm going to lean over the rail here. I know I know 10 people in the past month have fallen off the Grand Canyon, but I'm going to get that shot at all costs, up to and including death. Yeah. And people, they feel so important for getting that shot, but it's the engagement ring mentality. Once people look at it, who cares?
My homegirl agrees with you. She said that the creature, that's what the creature represents, is a spectacle. You know, and vice versa. She said the exact same thing. And probably to the humans were a spectacle, and they're both living amongst each other. But the humans aren't really, they didn't recognize the creature when it was just behind the clouds. Even though it was hidden, it still was there. They couldn't recognize what it actually was, where it can actually just sit there and say, okay, I know exactly where this is. I know where my place is.
See, I think Daniel Kaluuya, his character OJ, he's an old school guy.
Yes.
Right? He's not going to be someone that was caught up in the camera. Yeah. He's someone that's, probably doesn't have social media, he's the one that comes up with the idea of how to defeat the creature, right? But everyone else is so enamored with the camera in that movie. If you talk, TMZ shows up. You talk about his sister. She's big. Yeah. So, but he personally is a guy that's, I don't focus on this part of things at all.
I just got work to do.
He's the guy that figures out, don't look it in the eyes.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, because even when that's a good point, Vince. Because even when he was on the Hollywood set, he wasn't excited to be there. All he cared about was the safety of the horse.
Andy never made eye contact. People, you remember him in the whole scene?
Yeah,
he's
the whole scene kept his head down.
He's got his head down, looking to the side. It's almost. Again, if you want to get back to the social commentary part of it, and you think about how many times have we seen this in movies, especially when it comes to slavery, don't you look me in the eye.
Yeah, and then
it's a sign of aggression, whether it's people, animals, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and then OJ, and his name's OJ, so
the Run OJ Runs line was put in there masterfully.
So the social media that's a good thing. But what do we want to talk about next, Jimmy?
Go ahead. I did want to say that to me, you're right. The creature, the alien, did resemble a camera, and I think that's why all that imagery of predators and animals being vicious was put in there to make that alien more terrifying in the end when it does reveal itself. Otherwise, I mean, if we had just seen the still shot of that alien, before watching the movie, I'd have been like, "What is this kite? This is the alien."
Right.
Like,
I didn't like
who are we trying to scare? Benjamin Franklin?
I didn't like the
I didn't like the design of the alien. I'll be honest with you.
I mean, it still worked for me emotionally. Like, I didn't love the design either, but it still worked for me because they had given you all that imagery to evoke the thought of it being a predator, right?
Yeah.
And they had done all the setup to reveal it being a predator.
It looked like something from like House of the Flying Daggers or something at the end of the movie. You know what I'm saying? With the
Right.
colors.
No, it looked like a kite.
Yeah.
It looked like a kite. It looked like I wanted to fly that thing. You know what I'm saying?
I think when the movie opens, it gives you a shot of what they call their great-great-grandfather on the horse, right?
Yeah.
And that camera looked just like the alien.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
That
So-
camera looked just
Yeah,
like
it was like an old school camera.
Right.
It's just like how he says. Yeah.
The last thing I want to say about this is inherently we're selfish. Inherently we are always going to look out for number one, right? Which in my book, I'm on Team Jimmy. I am the captain, and I am rooting for Jimmy. Jimmy has failed a lot, but I'm still going to keep going.
How did you not
it's a small
abandon
team.
that
Yeah,
by now?
It's a small team. It's a tight-knit team of one.
We every player on this team has the same opinion. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But we never ever think about the viewpoint from the other side. Every creature looks at a human being and goes, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, no matter the intelligence, it's going to look at it almost inherently as a predator or an enemy, right? It's different than me. I don't like it. I don't want to be around it. That's why most animals run immediately. But if it's big enough and strong enough, it will attack if needed. So it's just the fact that that's a camera. I think you hit it perfectly, Aaron. We are the spectacle to that creature.
Yeah.
And he's looking at it going, look at those things down there doing what they do.
They look delicious.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
you got OJ who's just, he says it multiple times, right? I got work to do.
My homegirl
Even-
told me that. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, even at in the face of imminent danger, he's just going, yeah, but I got horses to feed.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to continue with life.
Needs to be
He
done.
doesn't show excitement. I can't recall one time in the movie where he's sitting there and he's yelling, he's doing anything where his pulse gets raised at all.
There is one time, and
Okay.
I watched the movie in a predominantly black theater with a predominantly black crowd, and they all lit up at this scene, and that's when the dude brings out the non-electric camera, and she goes, "I told you this man would not
Oh,
bring a
yeah,
non-electric
yeah,
camera." They
yeah.
start high-fiving each other. My theater went nuts
That's
as soon as they
awesome.
started celebrating.
I
They
do
loved
remember that now.
scene.
So, anyway, Aaron, you had something you want to say, or you want
Oh
to
no, I
move
was
forward?
going to say I can't take props for the spectacle, but I can't reveal the name because I might get caught up on the podcast.
Gotcha.
Hey, but one thing I do want to say though, what did y'all think about the? We're talking about theories and stuff. What did y'all think about the performances in the movie? Personally,
I think Daniel Kaluuya was great.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Daniel Kaluuya guy.
Really?
No.
All I
liked
know
him
is
in
why
one
these British
movie.
people can do our accents so well.
well,
We can't
unreal.
do theirs for crap.
There's only one movie where I actually watched the Daniel Kaluuya movie where I bought him in, and that is the movie where he was. It wasn't a good movie. The Liam Neeson movie where he acted like he died or whatever with Viola Davis and all of them. Widows. I thought he was
Widows,
great in
yeah.
that, but everything else is just something. I get it. I get why he's a star. I get why he's a movie star, but he just doesn't have that star power to me. But he's not bad. But I'm a hater. You know what I'm
Gotcha.
saying?
You
He does have an Oscar.
You're
He does
obviously
have an
a hater.
Oscar. So
Yeah, Oscar.
No,
what do you get an Oscar for?
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that Oscar was definitely political. Who thinks about that movie anymore?
What?
Who thinks about that
he was
movie
great in
anymore?
that movie, too.
No, he was not.
He
No,
was
he
great
was
in that
not.
movie.
No,
I mean,
he was
sounded
not.
like he was from Chicago.
I think
No,
he's good.
no, he was
I
not.
think he's good. I'd like him to get
No, I didn't say he's a bad actor. I just said I personally. You know what I'm saying? I know he's a good actor. You know what I'm saying? There's people. who
Aaron,
do-
you're not allowed to have an
But
opinion
Judas
that varies
and the Black
from the
Messiah.
masses.
Judas and the Black Messiah to me, man, like when I think of characters, and this is my last thing about Daniel Kaluuya. When I think of specific biographical characters and that hit hard, I don't even think about that movie anymore. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think about that movie as soon as it ended. Movie should have been. He should have brought so much more weight and gravitas towards that movie. I still think about Denzel. I still think about Malcolm X, Steve Biko, Don Cheadle in Hotel Rwanda. There's a lot of like he's just so one note to me. Like I
Right.
haven't really seen him bring to
Jamie Foxx and Ray.
Ray, yeah, Jamie
You
Foxx and
always
Ray.
go. When
Now,
we're talking autobiography,
Lakeith Stanfield and Judas and the Black Messiah. I thought
he was
was
great. Oh, they both were great, though.
That dude needs to be
He should
in
have been
more
more.
stuff.
But I get what you're
Yeah,
saying.
for
Though. Yeah. I think that, but
he likes taking on.
I think the thing about Daniel Kaluuya is he has the ability to say something without ever saying something.
I'll give you that.
And even when he's hopefully the camera can see, when he's talking to his sister, and he's pretty much saying, "I got you." And he doesn't say it. It's all over his face. The dude can say something with just his eyes.
I'll give you that. He's great at that. I'll give you that. He does that in every movie because, like, even in Get Out and stuff like that. Yep. No, I got a better example. Have y'all seen the Black Mirror episode he did?
No.
Arguably the best episode of that whole series.
Yeah, and he doesn't talk that much. Yeah, he doesn't talk that much in that movie, but he does exactly what you say on another level. So Daniel Kaluuya, I'm sorry. Vince has reversed me on that. I got to reverse him on some of the people he hates, but we'll talk about that later. But okay.
Keke Palmer, though. Keke Palmer.
Dude, I think she's going to be mixed, man. I think half the people are going to like her. Half the people think she's like fake Chris Tucker. Half of the people are going to think she was great. I think that she started off
on Chris Tucker.
I think that she started off the movie. I know why he did it. It's almost like he wrote the movie the part for a boy, and then they're like, "No, I'll put a girl in there later on." I don't know, but like, this is just my opinion, and I know I'm talking a lot, and I'll let y'all get to it. I think the first half of the movie, I was not impressed with her as much. I don't think she did bad, but I think the second half of the movie, it's like, oh damn, she's the star. Is she the star of the movie?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Is this her movie? You know, that's how I felt, if that makes sense to you.
She brings all the color to the movie as far as just the levity she brings and the personality. And, yeah, she's the one with the standout moments to me in the movie. You know, I guess Angel, too. But Angel's more comic relief.
Well, watching her just run, she's running, and I mean, her movements are chaotic.
Yeah.
And so she kind of brings something that's just kind of like that physical expression with her body. Yeah. If you watch her just run in this movie, you're like, oh man, that's pretty impressive with Keke Palmer. I didn't know she had that in her. So.
I've seen some stuff. I'm a Keke Palmer fan. I've seen some stuff. Keke Palmer can act, man. She I mean, even from Achille and the Bee.
I was about to say she's been doing it since like 11 years old.
She's legit. I think that they did it on purpose to have her so sporadic, like you said. So when later on, whenever she did anything, it just fit her character. Because like you said, like when she's running erratic, her character was so erratic in the beginning of the movie.
Oh, living that life on the camera too at the beginning of the movie, and I don't know. I am in the same vein as Aaron. The first half of this movie, I was seriously trying to figure out why she's in it.
Yeah,
it didn't seem, but maybe it was to get the feeling of rejection from Dad, because you even get that, you know, Dad never trained me on my horse like he said he would. I don't want to be involved. Please sell this stuff. Give me my money. I got an entertainment career that I'm worried about. And so, but let's evolve here. Dad, I want to touch briefly on the scene of the dad dying, because I think it sets up a theme that is so prevalent in this film, which is Dad dies because this creature apparently has eaten recently and starts. We never find out where, though. Because there's keys, there's coins. Clearly, this creature does not digest metals.
Yeah,
and it rains them down. Now, the weird thing is, and I'll say this, it briefly shows this later. The second time he does it over the house, the coins end up standing on their edge as well. Remember that? So I think that's why. Yeah,
that's why the shoe. That's what.
But then you have to start asking. Okay, well, was this creature involved in the chimp going crazy? Probably not, but. You can draw 39 different conclusions from that. But the one thing that I did get, and again, you talk about when Daniel Kaluuya figures out how to not get attacked, which I have problems with this in general, and I'll touch on this later, but it's the looking up. This, to me, is a huge thank you to Spielberg from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Marion, don't look. Don't look up. Keep your eyes closed. Everybody that's looking dies.
Kaluuya looked up in the first scene.
Right. That's one of the big problems I have with this, right? But Dad looked up. It shows the X-ray of the skull, and you see the coin in there, and then you see his eye and whatnot. But looking up, not to say it wouldn't have happened if he didn't look up, but it just happened to be perfectly placed that coin went right through his eye socket. So I get it. Plus, it moves the movie along. But ultimately, looking up. Again, I think it's just a great nod to Spielberg of going, look, don't look at things that you can't deal with, right? And don't look at things that you're not supposed to look at. So, any thoughts on that from you guys at all?
Well, my thought is, when I was looking at it, we're all getting way too vain.
Yeah.
We're all getting way too vain. And that camera, we're all about the camera these days.
Everything.
Right in that same vein. Vanity is just about
It's almost like we're conditioned now to the moment we think there might be a camera, because nobody lives a life where they're always in that perfect pose when the shot happens, but yet every photo you see, people are always...
And the movie is the perfect shot. It's the whole throughout the movie. We're trying to get the perfect shot, the money shot. This is an age where people are taking pictures of their food and putting it on social media.
That's all my Instagram.
And the funny thing about it is like the dad was talking before he passed away. What was he talking about? This is going to put us back on top. Right. This is what's going to get us back in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Never have problems again.
Never have problems again. So so he was looking up for the success and things like that. If that's where. I don't know, man.
It's the reason we're doing this podcast.
I didn't like how. Yeah, no, it is. No, I didn't like. What I'm saying is, I didn't like. This is what I was trying to say earlier. I didn't like how it jumped from the studio scene straight to that scene, straight to 6 months later into the movie. Right. You know what I'm saying? I think he should have broken up some, but he's way better, auteur than
Jimmy,
I am.
You can't call us off our vanity on our first podcast, man. What are you trying to do here, man?
Remember,
let people
I am dropping you 3 the moment I see any success.
Well, that's going to be a long moment from now.
You let $1 green roll in. Jimmy's like, I'm out.
Don't look up, Jimmy. Don't look up.
Vaseline, folks. No Vaseline. Got rid of the dead weight.
So what about the supporting characters, man? Like you mentioned earlier, Angel. I thought that was funny that he had nothing else better to do with his life. His girl, bro, they pretty much made it seem he had nothing to do with his life. He was like, I'm just gonna.
Well, she left him for the fame, though.
But that's just it. She left him for the fame, and all he cared about. He's telling somebody he doesn't even know. Yeah, she's a model, actress. He needs to be somebody in the face of people he doesn't even know.
But he just wants to be a part of something.
That's right.
He just wanted to be a part of something. That's what made me laugh so hard, man.
His perfect shot was just apparently getting a friend, however loose that tie is.
Right.
I mean, it truly is. His spectacle was just going, wow, I can hang out with somebody. When they are escaping and getting protected at his house, the first thing he does, I'm going to smoke some weed and put my VR goggles on because this is just all I know.
Both of them, man.
I'm going to escape this world.
Everything is the only one that doesn't in that scene.
And his whole thing, and people, we do this. The world on the camera is not the world we live in. But people, for some reason, thank you, Kardashians, but, we have to feel like if life isn't how it is on film, people have the opinion of if there's no picture, it didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
And so apparently my life has never occurred because I don't have any social media. I don't know. I think the last photo of me taken was my graduation photos from high school. I mean, and it's not that I avoid it. I'm just never in a position to do that stuff. But man, Angel made me laugh because he had nothing better to do than to get involved and, let's be honest, creep a little bit by watching their video footage.
He had nothing going on in life. He had nothing going on, man. That's what made me laugh about him. I was just thinking, like, why is he spying on him? I was like, this dude didn't have anything going on.
What a great tie-in, the fact that Fry's has been out of business for years.
I thought about that,
You brought in Fry's. Well, probably because it didn't cost him anything to use the name. But he brings in Fry's. He's already literally in a dead-end job.
Wow.
And here's the thing. That's why he made me laugh at the very beginning. I know you can relate to this. Anybody that's worked in that type of business where you're in a retail shop and you're waiting for people to come in and you just sit there majority of the day doing nothing, twiddling your thumbs, trying to figure out what to do. I mean, back when I worked that type of job, we didn't have wireless internet, right? So literally, me and other people that worked at similar stores would call each other on the phone and just talk for hours and hours on end because it's so boring working there. And that's not any deep social commentary, but as soon as I saw Angel, I could immediately put myself in his shoes because I was like, man, I understand how bored that man must be at work. And when you see him, when he's checking them out, he is so clearly annoyed that they're even there in the first place.
Yes.
Even though he's got nothing to do. The man is doing nothing there.
You're interrupting my nothing.
He's sitting there with his hand in his head doing nothing, but he's just so annoyed that they're there. And I just laughed because I was like, I've been there, man. I know exactly how that feels.
So, Angel is a great ancillary character. Do we call Jupe an ancillary character or supporting character? Yeah. Okay, so then there's some meat here. Let's talk about this cat because went through a
traumatic experience.
I think we can all agree a traumatic experience, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he saw I think most child actors would tell you their family is more the people they work with than their real family because their real family is typically just exploiting them. Yeah. But he saw basically his family literally and figuratively ripped apart. So he gets I think he finds his way in this world by ignoring the trauma of it, which we all do. Let's make light of it.
I think he embraced it.
Yeah, he embraced it.
Yeah, he turned it into a show.
Yeah, it was.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He turned it into he had a shrine that he charged for. He turned.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I mean. When I say show,
he didn't deal with the trauma by actually working through it. He turned it into, how can I make money with this? Because my whole life has been, I just act like I'm in something, don't show my true self, and let's get some cash from it.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's bragging, he tells the story of a traumatic event based on a skit from SNL.
Yeah.
He's so enamored.
Like he wasn't there.
Yeah. And that's just it. He's so happy that Scott Wolf played him.
Chris
Kattan was the chimp.
The legendary Chris. First time I ever heard the Chris Kattan. He's so legendary.
And I can tell you that I think Chris Kattan was one of the perfect people for SNL. But Mango being the guy that you're literally putting on a pedestal and then bragging about, some Dutch couple came in here, paid $50,000. I don't want to know what they did in here, but that happened right here.
Yeah. And let me ask you guys something. When he went back to the second flashback, what triggered that for him to remember that? Because I remember him sitting there thinking about it, but what triggered the flashback? Does anyone remember?
I don't know that there was a trigger.
No, there was a trigger. There was something that happened. There was something.
It was right before he was about to do the show.
Yeah, right? It was right before he got to the show. But there was something that happened that he was sitting down.
Was he looking at the shoe?
No, the shoe.
Because that was behind the wall.
Yeah, that was behind the wall when they first saw it. But something happened. I can't think of it right now. But
you're right. He was sitting at his desk.
Yeah, sitting at his desk. Something triggered it. It was something minute, but then it triggered it, and that's what took us back to the longer aspect of that.
Let's talk about that park scene.
Yeah,
because clearly, even though he's in entertainment, he's probably not living the life that he wants based on being a child star, right? Yeah. The park is never really full. Mm-hmm. I also find it just unique, not that there's a tie-in, but he's of Korean descent, so his last name's Park. Yeah. And he owns a park.
Right.
But the park is okay. There's people there, but let's be honest, it's not packed.
No.
When he finally decides to do this show, there's 25 people in the audience that's clearly built for like 500. I mean, it's not anything, but you can tell he truly believes, I've done all the work I need to do, and now is when the bucks start rolling in. Because after this show, people are going to come in and just watch, and he's truly got the assumption, I'm in control of this situation.
Yeah, I think
that's the whole overlaying theme on that whole whole scene is that we think we're in control and we know we're not.
He's a child actor who's clearly looking for his way back in.
Well, they actually have a scene with Keith David that thoroughly explains that. They were talking about the horse. I think it was the ghost horse, and he was like, a creature like that can never be tamed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it was like a flashback. He was telling them like, I don't even know. You know, there's you can't train that type of horse. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to happen.
Right.
So I don't know, man. His character, I understand some of it, but, you know, like I said, the more we've talked about it today, it's kind of just like, man, damn, there's a lot that I'm missing.
I didn't take because I went a different way with it. I didn't initially take the whole, commentary on social media, but now that you say that, it makes a lot of sense that this is child actor who was famous at one point, then lost that and just wants that back because he wants that acknowledgement back, and he just wants to get that feeling back, and he's willing to try to make a deal with a dangerous alien predator in order to do that. And then it ends up costing his life, which, I mean, this is a sad story of a lot of child stars. They end up dying young because of mistakes they make.
Why does the alien eat the horses? Are the horses looking up at him?
Yeah,
well, that's weird because this gets into my frustration because, let's be honest, you're allowed to be upset at a movie too, right? Mm-hmm. OJ seems to just magically know. Now, I have no problem with his knowledge of horses. Yeah. And, certain horses, like he's talking about in the commercial shoot, do not look this horse in the eye. And then he sees his reflection, that horse immediately kicks, and they're like, nope, bring in the robotic horse. We're not doing this. And to me, it tells me that people look for the easy way out, too. We'll try your way, but let's be honest. Realistically, we're not going to do it. Yeah. Secondly, it says, he says, just out of nowhere, we got to make a deal with this creature, and you can't look it in the eye. You can't look it in the eye. What eye? What? I know that the thing, when it's in its shape, looks like an eye from below. So that means I can't look at it at all. And so you'll have to forgive me if I find the stretch of, well, I mean, if it works for horses, it's clearly going to work for aliens, if it's an alien, right? But that is a bother to me. And the fact that, like you said, he looked at that thing earlier, and he was sitting there staring at that thing when it was first, when because then he's talking to Kiki, or Emerald. Yeah. Her name is Emerald in the movie. What was it? It was big. Yeah, what was it? Big. That's all he could say, and to me...
It didn't move like no ship.
And it didn't move, yeah, so he's trying to give an explanation, but to me, it's asking you to make the assumption that a horse trainer also equates to, I know how to deal with aliens, so call Jeff Goldblum and let me get him to triangulate the formula.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Is like, hey, I mean, if you can accept that Jeff Goldblum just decides a virus is going to kill aliens in Independence Day, then it's the same thing, right?
I understand.
Well, you initially asked about why horses. See, I didn't put too much thought into that. My first reaction was, okay, the alien has a taste for horses. Yeah. So he likes horses. And then as the movie goes forward, he kind of expands his palate. Now he's moved on to humans.
Yeah.
Well, but he obviously ate humans first.
He ate them at the beginning, because the keys rained down. So,
right. Remember, and again, we just don't know about that. And secondly, why does the horse change its opinion not the horse, the creature change its opinion on things? Like
horses, he left the horse there.
Yeah. I mean, and you can say to Stephen Yuen or Jupe, you can go, buddy, you should have known the moment you pulled that tarp off the horse cage, and he didn't run. I'm not in control here, and because somehow we live in a world where we just, in the movies, we assume animals know more than we do because of their instincts. But
it's interesting you say that, because the horse in that scene was not spooked.
At all.
In other scenes, the horses got spooked, right? So, and this horse does survive. So it's almost like it knew somehow, some way. It's still there.
That's the one that
he gets it.
Daniel Kaluuya rides at the end of it.
I mean, was he alive at the end of the movie?
That's again another discussion.
Right. But I'm talking about in that park scene.
Yeah.
Right. It eats everything else except for the horse. Yeah.
To survive that.
Yeah. Lucky. I remember that. I'm just saying at the end of the movie, but yeah. And then you got and just to move forward a little bit, because like I said, we could talk about an hour on every subject of this thing. Yeah. The Michael Wincott of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and the Crow with the voice, man, like his character. Fits directly into Vince's theory, because he had to get the perfect shot, and what I'm saying, at the end, and he was willing to lose his life for it. Like, hey, this is my dream or whatever. But it's just, I'm confused, bro.
His whole, I don't have a problem with that type of character being in the film. What I have a problem with is the language that he used. Everything he said was a speech. Everything I say.
Listen, man, if you had a voice like that, you would be making a lot of speeches too.
I get it, but man,
be making speeches just make speeches.
He does that anyway.
Yeah.
And maybe it's we're making fun of the artistic community in that I need whatever I say to have gravity, because none of what he ever says in that movie was just a normal response. It's you're going to be on the mountain, and that's the dream you never wake up from, and I'm like. Kevin Smith must be drooling over this guy, right?
Let's bring up a more talented director.
I know.
He hates Kevin Smith.
That's another video for another time, guys.
Again, I truly believe that Michael Wincott in this plays a character, and then the character's name, Antlers Holst. Why is no movie person ever named like John Wilson?
There's no
that's
fun
a
in
weird
that.
thing.
I know, but
well, he's the artiste. You can tell by his avant-garde viewing that he was watching tigers and pythons fight and things of that nature.
Yes.
He was the artiste looking for the animalistic shot. That's why he's looking at the different eyes and pupils. He wanted to bring the realism, and he also pulled the famous George Clooney line, and I'm pretty sure other actors have said it, but he's the first one I heard. I do one for me.
Yep.
Then I do one for them. I do one for me. That stuff right there.
And to answer your question on his name, that just depends on the writer. Some writers like their names to mean things.
Jordan Peele.
Right. No,
and there are some writers, like the guy that writes for that's on the ticket. I can't remember his name. That wrote Justified. He'll just pick people he knows.
Oh yeah, No, I got you. So. I just, if there's anything that bothered me that seemed to fit but also seemed out of place, it was that guy's character, and just the whole perfect shot at all cost again. I'm going in this thing. I'm running into the belly of the beast here. I mean, and then do we? The shot that he got
it was a dream he never woke up from.
No, I know, but we're worried about the photo from this wishing well. What about the camera that he had? Is the film just gone?
They got eaten, right?
Yeah, but that
it's going to
thing
get
spits out.
regurgitated. Yeah, it's going to get regurgitated.
And none of that.
Now, one thing that we talked about Daniel Kaluuya's name in the film, OJ, right? When did most people start tuning in and everything became a spectacle at that point?
Oh, the OJ trial.
Yeah, the OJ, just watching OJ, what is that, during the NBA Finals?
Yeah.
OJ
The trial was 95, right?
This is about cameras.
Summer, he's talking about the Bronco chase.
The Bronco chase. This is about cameras. Everybody was tuned in just watching a Bronco go down the street.
Yeah.
We put the game in the small box.
Bronco, OJ,
Yeah. So his name OJ wasn't accidental.
No.
It wasn't accidental. Park wasn't accidental. I mean, he put heavy thought into how he named his characters.
Oh yeah.
Antlers Holst. I'd like to consider myself relatively intelligent. I can't pull a tie-in of any sort with that name.
I mean, it could have been just some shit he thought was funny. Yeah.
Agreed, but I don't know. I thought his character, his character to me kind of was like a freaking hangnail. He kind of hurt, but he kind of felt good, and he just kept picking at it until eventually it bled, and he died. So.
Yeah, I mean, I like the character. I love that guy's voice. I know, Aaron, you're a big voice guy, right?
Yeah, Wincott's dope.
When they got a good voice, Aaron's all about it.
I mean, the voices are what separates actors to me.
No doubt.
I agree. 100%. I agree, right?
Rappers, musicians, radio hosts, anything with entertainment, your voices to me is what separates you.
Yeah, and a guy like that, I don't want him to say simple things. That's wasting his most incredible talent. You give him dialogue that is going to be drawn out and
yeah. But was it great dialogue? I think that's what Jimmy's saying. When it comes to the story, he was the exposition. Well, he wasn't even an exposition dump. It wasn't even exposition dumps. It was just vague to be vague. But maybe he was making fun of the artistic, side of.
He even showed up.
There's an additional theme, what you're mentioning now. Because there are a lot of sub things. You asked me about the reparations and all that.
Yeah. I want to get into that.
I want to do this now.
Yeah, let's do that now. I want to hear that.
Everybody, look here.
This is the point where all
open
the
your
red pill
mind.
people get triggered.
Second scene where Keke Palmer is talking about her great-great-grandfather and just the fact that we are not acknowledged in history. I mean, we're laying the foundation for a couple of things here. He's putting the lack of acknowledgement of what her grandfather's role was in movie making. And so acknowledgement, I think you mentioned that a little bit earlier too.
Yeah, I read that in I think it was a Time magazine article about the various series where somebody said, hey, listen, like this is essentially the first movie star, and nobody ever brings him up.
Right, no acknowledgement.
We know the name of the horse, but we don't know the name of the person on the horse.
Then you had the point where they felt as though they had to get the perfect shot before anybody else came in and did it, and now everything's gone. So no matter what I do, it gets to the point where somebody else is going to come in, do it better, and get all the credit for it.
Right.
So she was really concerned about somebody getting all of the credit for or beating her to it. Like there was a sense of urgency because TMZ is going to show up and we're going to get nothing, and we're the people who kind of discovered the alien.
Same with rock music and Elvis Presley.
And also there's a big reparation push going on right now too, and I'm pretty sure Jordan Peele, when he was writing this script, wanted to put that in there. So I can definitely see that, and I agree with that. Actually, wholeheartedly. I just didn't think about it. But I can definitely see how he wanted to tie, and that ties into what I was saying earlier about legacy and things like that that were embedded in the movie. Yeah.
So
usually I pick up on that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh man,
what you got to do,
brother, man. You need to get it now, man. You know what I'm saying?
We're not getting our credit. We're not getting our money. We're not getting anything.
They call me up and just start yelling at me about reparations. I'm like, I'm not in charge of that, man. I don't know what to tell you.
But I will also tell you, and again, don't get mad at me because of the position I'm coming from, but I think that I think Jordan Peele is incredibly knowledgeable of both sides of every argument he makes. He looks at this because I do agree with where you're both coming from here, but he also what happens that again hurts the cause. Keke Palmer does something very stereotypical, right? She's late for the appointment. The brother has no idea nor concern. You saw when he tried to give the same speech. Back in 18,
he didn't have charisma.
He's like, I can't look at the camera. I'm not looking at anybody. And then she shows up. Where you been? Oh, I'm just running late. Yeah. I need you to be on time right now.
And Jimmy hit us with the overseer speech now.
But no,
I'm taking this a little personal, Jimmy. Wait a minute.
Anshul was 8 minutes late.
We talked about Bill Burr earlier. What did he say? He said, man, I feel it, man. I put on a suit, and I immediately feel like I just want to take over something.
Yeah, I feel like I need to speak for Kiki, because sometimes when you got talent, you could be like Jimmy. Sometimes when you got talent,
what's
it just
your
shows
excuse?
up. It just shows up.
Yeah, what's your excuse, Anshul?
Thanks for putting all this together. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. No, go ahead.
I just think that he's really good at presenting both sides of the argument, so you can have an informative discussion, whether it be with yourself, other people, podcasts, whatever. He's going, this is something that a lot of people think needs to happen, but it's also the same conversation, and I'm not trying to get into this side of social commentary. It's the same side of the conversation, though, that people go, until black-on-black crime stops, how do we get better as a society, right? We got to fix ourselves at some point.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, it's a brief snippet of life is what he's bringing, and he's going, this can't go right unless we do everything perfectly. Yeah. We have to do things faster, better, stronger than other people because of how far behind we're already starting. Yeah. And I just think it's a great example of people want all of the good. They just don't want to do the work to get it.
Well, I think the point that she made was the work was already done.
Right.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So the work's already done. So, and just to push back, because, we on the podcast, got to represent people. Sorry. The work's already done. But I believe, honestly, that if it were to come, I think that he was talking about, so there's a big thing going on in the black community. I just got to bring it out. Reparations, and then there's a thing called, American Descendant Stays, Financial Black America, however you want to look at it. And I noticed, like Childish Gambino, ATL, a lot of these black directors are doing quote-unquote woke work, and they're putting this specific topic in there. Now, when it comes to legacy in this, when you're talking about reparations, I think that what he was doing with the Keke Palmer thing was what we talked about. I think she's the only character who had development in this movie. And what I mean by that is that she started off erratic, and the dad didn't, that was supposed to be her horse. And she's always saying, and it kind of ties into what you're saying, that should have been mine, but it wasn't mine. Everything's been taken from me. Everything's been gone from me. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to back you up right here. At the end of the movie, the only time that she ever achieved something is when she took the matters into her own hands, didn't rely on anyone else, didn't wait for someone to ask for something to tell them to do something, and went and took it from them. On the other flip side of that, she got forced in that position because her brother had to sacrifice himself for her to live. So it's also one of those things to where you lose everything.
I was going to say, it's a no-win situation. And that's a struggle, right? Yeah. Because you end up having a lot of people take that, it's a no-win situation, and then they go, well, why do anything?
Yeah.
And again, but I think, I love that you brought that up, because that was what I thought with this as well, is you see her actually change as a character. Yeah. Maybe that's why she was terrible at the first half of the movie, and in the second half you're going, she's carrying this thing.
I thought it's her movie. At the end of the movie, it's her movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
now, I'm curious, though, because you said that, did the brother survive?
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that. I just automatically assumed, why do you think that he may not have survived? Because when I looked at the movie, I was like, oh, he lived through it.
Because I saw the thing chase him, and Jordan Peele purposely pulled that camera back to where you didn't see the up-close chase of it, and then it stayed on Keke Palmer, and at the end of the movie, she's crying, she got the shot and everything, and then she looks up and she sees him outside of a gate, you know what I'm saying?
That says out yonder.
Yeah, that says out yonder, and he goes like this to her, and then she passes.
And you never really fully see him.
Yeah, you never really fully see him.
Does it fade to white or fade to black?
It fades to black, I believe. But that's why, when that movie ended, that's why I was so mad when I said my first thing was like, wait a second, you know what I'm saying? Like at least with Inception, when people were mad at that movie, you know what I'm saying? He set it up to where you can have your own choice of what happened. This, I want to believe he lived. I think he lived, but realistically, how he framed that scene to where he got chased up, they had the music swell, he looked up, he did his, the Schwarzenegger look, like, okay, you know what I'm saying, at the thing, he accepted his fate, he ran away, it didn't show him again until that last scene.
See, and I thought the last scene proved that he lived.
Yeah.
I think you gotta take what you want.
Well, and that's what's great about this, is interpret it as you will. This thought is not an original of mine, a friend of mine told me about it, but I want to give some credence to it. I love, because when you think about it, at the end of the movie, when the way that the dust rises, what is the only thing that works? It's the old school stuff, right? Yeah. The way that the photos develop, it's like a Polaroid, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. His coming back is like a Polaroid developing, but we don't get to wait to see it fully done, right? We're not shaking it enough.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting catch.
But just to me, this was a visually beautiful movie.
Oh, yeah.
I really love, even to the point, I will say my favorite line that Wincott does say is the most normal line, is when he goes, looks like the aliens just repainted your house.
Yeah.
You know?
Cinematography. The cinematographer is Christopher Nolan's main cinematographer.
Yes.
Yeah. So throw that out there. Jordan Peele, he's hitting heavy.
Yeah.
He's swinging on them
He's
boys right now.
circles.
Yeah. He's hitting heavy right now. So that says a lot. I think it's the Inception. I know he did Tenet, which is more technical, but if he's the guy who did Inception, then
Right.
Yeah,
So-
it was a great looking movie.
What do you guys, Aaron, we've heard your position on the creature's evolution of shape.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about that? Did it need to happen?
I thought, to me, it was almost like it was peacocking, like it was a predator, right?
Okay.
Like when
I've
a
heard
predator,
that.
yeah, and it reminded me very much of a snake. When a snake, like a cobra, when it props
Hoods
up
up.
and it hoods up and it bears its fangs. I mean, yeah, that's the first thing I thought of when I saw it. The camera kind of came a little bit after that.
Here's the problem with that. Wouldn't it peacock when it killed all the people instead of worry about these
Right.
3 people at the end?
Right.
Like, did it perceive them as such a big threat that it now I'm going to peacock on you guys as opposed to everyone else?
I always took it as, I always got the sense that the alien knew that people were trying to film it, and that the threat was that they had finally done it, and that's why I got upset.
Maybe.
Because there's no other reason. I mean, they're not any more of a threat.
I think Jordan Peele went out of his way to say that a lot of things that we see, like to back up Jimmy's point, Jordan Peele in this movie went out of his way to say that these picture-perfect pictures, like the Kim Kardashians that are touched up that look so perfect, are real good. But he made a point that guy said, there's videos, the TikTok, it looks horrible, but that's the real stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those are the things that are actually happening, and they're not perfect. They're not big. So I don't know if the Predator realized it was going on, or he wanted to express like, hey, we know it's there. We're trying to get a picture of reality, but it's hard to capture reality in this time and day or this day and age just because, it's I don't know.
Or they got a picture of its true nature, kind of like what you're alluding to, where like, it's not dressed up, it's not pretty. You got a picture of what it actually is. It's kind of vicious, right?
Yeah.
And so that could be the reason.
I took it as, we know from watching the movie, I think Jordan Peele just kind of decided, in case you missed it, I'm going to hit you over the head with a brick so you get it, that this was about a camera.
Right.
Because he really starts to develop into a camera so that
Yeah.
just in case you missed it, I'm tying this back to that first scene that you saw.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me hit you over the head with a brick because you idiots may not get what I'm trying to put out here.
You know what I just thought of? And you talk about it being the camera, right? If you think of the old school cameras, that thing, when it evolved, it had the front.
Yeah.
And it had the long flowing, almost like a robe,
Oh,
right?
yeah. No. Vince hit it. Vince hit it on the
Yeah,
head
I
earlier.
just now thought of the fact that that's that flap, the old school days.
Vince hit it on the head. That's what he's saying.
Yeah,
it was just like
you
the
helped me
camera.
learn today, Vincent.
It was just like
I'll
the
help you
camera
learn
that. It was
every
just
day,
like the
Jimmy.
camera
No,
that shot
you
the
Just
shot the
keep
jockey.
listening.
Yeah. He hit it on the head. Yeah, directly.
Well, I think we need to start over because now this changes completely.
Now we're really ready to review the movie.
So, for those of you who just tuned in, we're now going to get started.
Yeah. So and then one thing that I wanted to ask about this movie, man, and this is the problem that I had with Get Out. This is the problem that I had with Us. Jordan Peele's a comedian, but his humor does not really hit with movies with me. What did you think about the humor, and what did you think about the soundtrack? Because one thing about his movies, the Get Out had a great soundtrack. Us, whether you two hated it, I liked Us. I thought Us is just as good as this movie personally. What did y'all think about the soundtrack in this movie?
I thought the soundtrack was dope. It was old school,
Yeah.
right? So I really liked that, and it was a lot more subtle. It wasn't really highlighted or featured like you see in a lot of movies now. The music's very much in the background, and you have to really listen to pick it up, right? Okay. It's not really at the forefront. I will say about his humor, it's really ironic that he's doing a movie now about reparations, where one of the skits he did on Key and Peele that I know got the community pretty hot was that the auction block where they had the slaves on the auction block. I think you had some hot sports opinions.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Okay, yeah, I know.
You would know. You know if I saw it. Yeah,
yeah. I thought I remember you talking about how you did not like that skit.
I didn't like them. I didn't like them because they were Key and Peele. They had funny things like the Aaron and stuff like that. But their humor just wasn't for me.
I don't think he was trying to be humorous in the same vein in this movie. Like his humor was kind of grounded in the real life personalities. Like,
oh, I thought he swung and missed, man. Like I said, man, this is why I always say Mel Gibson. I know y'all hate him, but this is why I say Mel Gibson was a better director than all these other directors, man. Because Mel Gibson could take any subject except for the Passion of Christ, and he can inject humor in there. And any of his movies, if you go back and watch them, and it always broke up the movie. You know what I'm saying? And Tarantino's pretty good at it too when he really wants to do it.
Did he have humor in Apocalypto?
Huh? Yeah, he had a lot of humor in Apocalypto. Go back and watch
Apocalypto.
Long
since I've watched that movie.
Yeah, that's how he breaks up. That's how Mel Gibson breaks up his movies. That's how he can get away with having heavy subjects and getting away with it, man. He mastered that, but he also mastered saying stupid things.
Yeah, make me want to smoke.
You look ridiculous.
That's one of the better lines from that group of recordings. There's some other lines that you and I cannot say,
That's the best part of the whole rant. You look ridiculous.
Yeah. I have never yelled one time at a solo. You make me want to smoke.
God. Yeah. The passion of which he hates that woman.
But and we've been talking about this for an hour. One thing I do want to say, and I want to get your opinion on this because I'm seeing something. I am seeing a career that is the exact same career as M. Night Shyamalan. I think this dude's going down the same. I'm sorry. I think he's going down the same trope. Yeah, Sixth Sense, great movie. Sixth Sense was so good that people didn't even want to. It was in theaters forever, and people didn't even want to spoil the ending.
Right.
Like, no matter whether you liked it or not, that says something because people spoil movies all the time. Then he came out with Unbreakable. Okay, that's a good movie. At the time, it was a lot of people didn't like it though. Let's be real about it.
It hasn't aged well.
Huh?
It hasn't aged well.
Unbreakable?
Yeah.
Unbreakable. It's considered his best movie now by most people. It's aged
I
pretty
thought
fun.
it aged well.
It aged pretty well. You know what I'm saying? And then he hit Signs, which I think this movie is a lot like Signs. With the swing away. Like Signs had the full circle. You had the wishing well, and all the other stuff. It was a slow paced movie, drawn out. So I'm curious to see what Jordan Peele's next movie is going to be because I think we may have a Lady in the Water coming on our hands. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
No, I don't think it's going to get that bad for him.
It seems like he's definitely on that road.
Yeah, Jordan, if you're watching this, I believe you.
That's way later on. We had Lady in the Water was first. You know what I'm saying?
Because he started falling off with Signs. No. I left Signs. Pissed off.
But here's the thing, though.
And then what was the other one? The other horror movie he did right after
Village?
Yeah,
The Village. The Village. Yeah, but
horrible.
No, The Village was a good movie until the ending. The Village was not a bad movie until the ending.
It was a terrible movie.
I think Signs is the same way.
Signs was trash.
Here's where I'll disagree with you.
No.
I like
Was
The
it
Village.
happening?
The
Was it
Village.
happening?
The Happening's later on. The Village.
Yeah,
The Village has
too.
some great acting. The Village has some great cinematography. The Village has some moments.
You want to? It's a string of trash. That's what he had. It's a string of trash.
Can I agree with you? Because this is one of my people,
always.
right? M. Night is my people. But here's the thing about M. Night.
My people.
And
Now he's
Do we get to do that? Because
You really want to hear what I'm going to say?
Southern
Because here's the thing. I thought all his movies sucked until the end. I was so bored with The Sixth Sense. I was like, this is the most boring horror movie I've ever seen. I watched the trailers. I was hyped to go and watch this movie. I was not scared one time. I thought the movie was awful. And then the ending happens, and you're like, oh, this movie's genius just because I had a good ending.
No. That movie's genius because that movie's genius.
Yeah, I was bored out of my mind, man. I was bored out of my mind.
Sixth Sense is pure greatness, man. You go back, the camera movement, like the to pull off a movie like that, Ancho, to pull off The Sixth Sense, because you can't poke holes in that movie. You can poke holes in a lot of movies.
Right.
That dude made sure that he's like, when people go back and watch this, because that's what they wanted to do, you can't really poke holes in that movie.
Fair
That's
enough.
what he
But
did.
that also ruined his career, I think, because he just wanted the twist ending. Man.
That's what I'm saying. Jordan Peele, I'm starting to see his tricks. I'm starting to see the same thing. I'm starting to see a lot of different long takes. I'm starting to see him tie things in the beginning to the end. I'm starting to see, like he's looking for the social commentary in every movie. So unless he gets another writer, I just see him going down the M. Night Shyamalan road.
Well, I think you see it. His whole reboot of The Twilight Zone did not work.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, in movie form, it has worked well.
Yeah.
But there is proselytizing here. There is preaching to the audience a lot in these movies. And eventually, if you don't evolve, after a while, I do think people get tired of being told what to think. Even though at the heart of most people, they need to be told what to think because we're all inherently idiots. Yeah. But The Twilight Zone did not work.
Yeah.
And I am a Twilight Zone apologist. Though you can watch those episodes from the 50s and 60s today, I mean, anyone would tell you Black Mirror is successful because the Twilight Zone existed.
Yeah.
The amazing ability to write the truly unthinkable in the 50s and put it on camera in black and white and do it in 30 minutes and to get that kind of story across is amazing. He wasn't able to do it with the technology and story writing available today.
Well, Vince, look at it like this. You like The Sixth Sense, but then, and you liked Unbreakable, right?
Yeah.
Then Science is trash.
Trash.
Right? All right, that's his first 3 movies.
I think M. Night Shyamalan kind of got too smart for his own good.
Yeah.
And then when you're sitting there watching it, you're like, okay, this dude done went off the deep end.
I hate
Science. Jordan Peele is, you like to Get Out.
I like Get Out.
Us was trash.
Us was trash. I think, once again, too smart for your own good.
Yeah, and then you have this movie, Nope.
And at least this movie was a lot better than Us.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. I'll give him 2 out of 3.
So when I say we got to see his next movie, that's what I'm saying.
I am going to see his next movie.
So am I.
And M. Night Shyamalan, there was a point where it got you got to a point where you're like, no, I'm out.
I watch all his movies, man.
I'm done.
I watch all his movies just because
I don't go because it was directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
I go just because
Shyamalan.
I go just because I want it to work for him, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I want him to have another good movie. Good God.
How many years is it going to take you?
I like Split. I saw that in the theater.
Oh, I think Split is a fantastic movie.
Now, was it a fantastic written movie, or did James McAvoy?
I think
a lot of times a guy just says, "Nope, I'm going to take this."
I agree with you on
It's
Signs.
a lot of movies.
The only time I like Signs is when that Reddit thread came out that the movie was about demons. I was like, oh, that movie's a lot better now with that Reddit thread. It took a Reddit thread 20 years later or however long for me to enjoy that movie.
I like Signs a lot, but I can't watch it again.
Okay, so and speaking of Signs, because we need to talk about the way the alien meets its demise.
Oh yeah.
So being frustrated with an ending, especially like Signs, right? Why do aliens who can't deal with water come to a place that's 75% water?
Yeah.
This creature, it's very particular, and it shows that it can change its taste because it went from horses to people. Can it not determine that this balloon is just a floating thing?
It can tell if you're looking at it, but it can't tell if you're a giant balloon or not.
Right.
Yeah, apparently, right?
So I'm sitting here going, come on, man.
I didn't like it.
I hated, and then it just, the way it blows up,
You're a poke a hole in the movies type guy, aren't you?
I'm doing a podcast over a movie. I think I'm supposed to and entitled.
You just gotta enjoy the movie.
And as a white man, I'm entitled.
Don't let Jimmy put on the suit, man. Then he's gonna take on.
Man, sometimes you just gotta enjoy it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, fair enough. Then you need to just enjoy Signs.
So when that new theory came out about being demons, like you said, right? Like, why did they come to a planet that was 75% water? I thought that context made it a lot easier to accept the fact that maybe it was holy water that banished the demon.
Fair enough.
Holy water.
Yeah.
Where are we going with this?
That's someone who just that's M. Night Shyamalan stan who's just like, man, how can I write this to get people to like
it? But that was a way better ending because it's a reverend's house.
No. The thing is, we don't know why the balloon did. Maybe he'll explain it. Maybe it was, expansive air. But the whole point was it was a setup from the beginning. This is what I'm saying. He's turning to M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes.
The wishing well was set up from the beginning in the movie, from when Keke Palmer disrupted those kids' thing. They needed to have a camera that didn't have electricity to take pictures of the thing. So it was just a MacGuffin. Yeah, it was a MacGuffin. The big balloon was a MacGuffin to get it above the wishing well. So I can get over it. But I'm with you, Jimmy. I hated it when I was like, this is how this thing dies? That's pretty bad. But, when I walked out that theater, I was just like,
but at least they did try to say,
I know
he can choke, because the horse, maybe it got lodged in his throat. They did kind of give a brief explanation about he might be able to choke. So the balloon actually choked him out. So they kind of tried to explain that.
They said the balloon choked him out.
That's the way I took it.
It overate. It looked like it overate.
I thought the balloon, the helium in it just
expanded. I thought it exploded.
Yeah. Either way, I get that.
You're out.
I didn't like it. I did not like it. But I understood. It's like it's almost like he wrote himself in. That's what I'm saying. Like he pulled a Shyamalan. He wrote himself in a corner, bro.
Yeah. The ending I've already determined, and now I just got to draw the route to that ending. And so, but all in all, I mean, we're getting close. We need to probably start wrapping this up here.
Yeah, let's wrap it up, and then for like 5 minutes, talk about something else real quick.
Yeah, we'll talk about Comic-Con.
Yeah, but all in all, Jimmy, what were you saying?
I enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
I will tell you, honestly, when I first walked out, my initial reaction was, I don't get it. I mean, I really did. And I am mad at myself because of the fact that Jordan Peele, to me, like you said, is going down the M. Night road. I'm looking for things that may not even be there. Yeah. And it's taking my attention away from the enjoyment of the movie.
Yeah.
And it makes it a struggle now to watch this because you've already have preconceived notions that I'm supposed to find the 614 Easter eggs that are in this because Jordan Peele loves pop culture and he loves giving homage to previous directors. Yeah. I think it's amazing how well he made Tremors a movie that you should go back and watch.
Yeah. No, Tremors is in there. And you know what? One thing we missed too. That this is how good this movie is to talk about. How it's going to be a topic later on. We didn't even talk about the chapters. We don't have to.
No, but I get
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so many different layers to it.
The Tarantino issue with the chapters. Yeah. The fact that this is, if you somehow could have Jaws and Tremors make a baby, you get this movie. And Signs, yeah. You get this movie, and it's not that that's a bad thing. No. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. The fact that we got to see, the boat captain Brody.
Yeah.
He dies in this in Antlers. Yeah. You know, the guy that knows how to do it. You've got the expert in it that realistically is not an expert at all because at the end of the day you can't control. Yeah. Right. And so it's amazing the homage to this. Like I said, I think the looking up homage, and maybe nobody else thinks this, but the whole fact that in Raiders of the Lost Ark, which let's be honest is arguably the best movie of the 80s, maybe so. In my opinion, at least the most fun to watch.
That's probably just your opinion.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, Raiders of the Lost Ark is so much fun.
It's a great movie, but that's how he said it.
He hates everything, man. If it's not the hate you give,
he didn't say he hated Raiders. He just said
I hated it.
I'll be honest with you. Raiders, no. Raiders of the Lost Ark is a great movie. It's a seminal movie. But I'll be honest with you. It's a better made movie than a lot of movies. But as a kid, I enjoyed The Last Dragon.
Yeah, he thought it was the most fun.
No, I'm not saying. It's a way better. Raiders, I understand it's a way better movie. It's put together. But I'm just saying a pure entertainment value.
Oh, I will put The Last Dragon as far as entertainment value up against anybody.
Yeah. No, Raiders, but you're right though. Raiders. Wait, what year did No. I don't even think Raiders is the best Indiana Jones. When year did The Last Crusade come out? 89?
88, 89. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the best Indiana Jones.
I think so,
I don't know what you mean though. Yeah.
But just the fact that, Spielberg again takes religious themes, can add a little fun to it
with the adolescent boys.
Yeah, but the whole part of the end of Raiders is just you're wrong. The whole
Hollywood.
Don't look up.
Hey, I didn't say that, man. Cut that. Yeah.
Go ahead. See all that Steve playing? We know.
No, I love the fact that Jordan Peele at least can give respect due to the people that have made his career path possible, and he's capitalizing in a great way. It's fun to watch.
He's a star. He's a star director. A star.
Yeah. And it's going to be, if we're making opinions here, when this downfall happens, whether it's the next movie or the one after, if that does happen, I'm going to hate seeing it because I have enjoyed the first three films.
He's the best pure filmmaker in the past 5 years.
We don't mind social commentary if it's wrapped in a pretty package that we can accept. Dave Chappelle's made a career out of it as of late.
Yeah. Once again, to go back to the beginning, he's giving you a reason to go watch in the movie theaters because you want to go discuss it right away. You don't want to wait for it to come out because you want to have these conversations, whether it's on a podcast, whether it's on the internet, whether it's with your friends in person. So he's giving you a reason to go to the theaters, and that's something that the industry really needs right now.
And I will tell you, it needs it. What I've been so happy with lately is original films, not sequels, not reboots. This. The Black Phone, everything, everywhere.
I haven't watched The Black Phone yet because Vince kind of took the wind out of the sails on that one for me. He said it's entertaining.
Yeah,
but everyone's telling me it's great, and then as soon as I hear it's just entertaining, I'm just like, I kind of
consider the source.
I kind of know what this movie is. Yeah, no, I think I got.
What you think it is exactly what it is.
Yeah, I think I got a kind of feel of what type of movies Vince likes and watches. So so I kind of feel like it's going to be one of those movies that has to feel good, but it has that slow pace that can kind of drag the movie.
Of course.
And I didn't think that at first until he said it was entertaining. And then I'm just like, well, what can bring a plot like that down? It's got to be a slow pace, slow build. Right. Oh, I got to get my friend. I've seen it before. That's all. I look at it.
getting original ideas to the screen now is almost as refreshing as coming out of this pandemic, if we even are.
They're there. They're just not in the movie theaters. That's the problem. But the big problem is South Korea's been stomping America for about 20 years right now.
Yeah,
and it's only getting worse.
Yeah.
And it's only getting worse.
We'll have to do some Korean movies for sure.
But so let's go through what the reviews were. You know what I'm saying? I guess I can start. I give this movie, I guess, I don't know what rating system we're going to use, but I liked it. I'll just say it like that. You know what I'm saying? We'll get a rating system for y'all. I don't want to
figure it out.
Yeah. I like the movie. I would say definitely go see the movie on a big screen. We didn't talk about, you guys, Vincent, you said you didn't catch it. Whenever the alien was on the screen, there was almost like a constellation outline on the screen as well that a lot of people didn't pick up on. So look out for that. But I liked it. Go watch it. And I think this is going to be one of those movies kind of like Annihilation. The further you get away from it, the more it becomes clear, the more people talk about it.
Yeah, I definitely think I really enjoyed the movie. On a scale of 1 to 10, close to a 9. I definitely think it's something that it's not a 9. It's close to a 9. Calm down. What are you
There's Vincent, you're allowed to your opinion as long as it matches mine.
Why are you acting constipated over there, man?
You are America. You are America today.
Seriously, man, let it out. Let some of that anger and aggression out, old man.
Close to a 9?
Yeah, I think it's something that you need to go to theaters and watch. You think everything is trash. We'll have to finding a movie you like is going to be the real. I'm
going to give my assessment here in a second.
We got you. Yeah, quit
we don't give assessments. We give appraisals because it's like a house. In the future, it can go up and can go down. For sure. We don't want it to be final. But go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. I see it once, right? So, and once again, expectations are a big part of it, guys. If you have low expectations going in, you will probably enjoy the movie a lot more. And that was my mindset going into the movie, is I didn't know what to expect. And so the fact I really enjoyed it probably heightens my rating at this point. If I watch it again, maybe I rate it a little bit lower. With that being said, I think I'm in agreement with Aaron that this is a movie you should go see because you want to talk about it while it's still hot.
Yeah, and so I'll go down that same road. It was filmed with IMAX film, so if you can get to a theater that was got an IMAX screen, go see it in that. It's how it was meant to be seen. So definitely, whether you like it or not, this is a movie you should see.
Yeah,
it's okay to go to see movies that you don't like. It really is, because ultimately that's how you grow as somebody. I walked out of this film going, my initial thought was, to quote a man I know, this is trash. I initially thought that. I did. Because, when I just sat in my car and I said, Jimmy, you're going to talk about this. What did you see? I said to myself, well, I got no answers as to why the alien's here, if it's been here for a long time, why it does what it does. But then you start asking yourself, in Tremors, we don't know why the creatures are here. In Jaws, it's just the nature of the shark. And the shark is nothing more than the inherent fear of life in general.
Yeah.
So I should be mad at myself, not Jordan Peele, as far as if I didn't. Yeah. Now, whether I like it or not, but it's the enjoyment of it. Yeah. I didn't enjoy it until I honestly went back and thought about it. That's weird for me because
he went for it.
He did. And I normally take things at face value of going whether I should like this or not, because I work hard for my money and I don't like to throw away money, and going to see movies is expensive in today's world. But man, I don't know that I can give it a 9 because I do have to put my level of enjoyment into it. So I'd give it around a 7 if we're doing a 1 to 10 scale, just because of the fact that, like you, the end of the movie bothers me. I'm no better. I can't give you 12 different options of what they should have done.
Yeah.
But I can tell you what I think they shouldn't have done, and it's what they did. So.
Okay. I know everybody thinks I'm going to call the movie trash.
No, actually, I think you're going to give it a positive review.
Well, a couple of things. I think the performances in the movie were absolutely great.
Fantastic.
All right. I think the way he shot it, great. I think that as a director, he's at the height of his game. Okay. As far as did I like the movie? Am I a fan of the movie? I think there are a couple of good things in it. If I had to describe it, I'd say this is like the Malik Monk of the NBA. Definitely not greatness, but
Malik Monk is in the NBA.
That's what I'm saying. It's the Malik Monk. He's a couple of good shots, but
it's Marquise Daniels.
Yeah, it's Marquise Daniels. Would I want to rely on this?
No.
Is this what I roll out and say this is excellence? Absolutely not. You know,
right?
But if I had to give it a number rating, I'd probably say it's about a 5.5.
What?
Okay.
What?
Yeah, it's about a 5.5.
So you're saying this movie's mid?
I've been more negative with this movie this whole podcast. This whole podcast and this dude.
It's very mid, but I will say this. I mean, as far as social commentary, he gets across what he wants to get across.
This guy right here.
There's a place for you young kids out there that's called a water cooler that people used to go to work and talk around. And this here will promote water cooler like talk.
Not only that,
but as far as was I entertained? Yeah. Did I think it was good? Am I going to tell someone, hey, you need to go out and see this right away? You're going to have the great movie experience. No, I'm not going to have it. This is Malik Monk.
Well, no. See. If, whether you like it or not, I think it may not be a great movie experience, but you're going to have a movie experience. It's not like going to go see Avatar by M. Night Shyamalan in the theater. You're like, man, I want to just rip the screen apart. You're going to have an experience, you know what I'm saying, and take it from there. You admit that, though, right?
Right.
Okay.